Hey guys, Rashda Ali here. Welcome back to my channel, Diary of an Expat. 2 years ago, me and my family, my husband and my two sons, moved from the UK, West London, to Dubai. We've been here for 2 years, and I wish at that time I'd had some type of channel like this that would literally help me navigate the landscape in Dubai. So, in today's video, I'm talking about one of the biggest topics that anybody has when coming to Dubai, and that's renting in Dubai. When you're moving to a different country, you don't initially want to buy, you want to rent, you want to investigate the landscape, see if it's right for you and your family, and that's why renting is a great option. So, in today's video, I'm going to get into all of the details and the ins and outs of renting in Dubai. So, as they say, let's get into it. Right, so what's the first thing that I want to talk about in Dubai when renting? It's pretty much like the UK, okay? It's going through a real estate agent. They have two actual main sites here. So in the UK, they have Zoopla and Rightmove. So in Dubai, they have Property Finder and Bayut. Bayut. They're their two actual property platforms. Now, you do it the same way that you do it in the UK, apart from things work a bit differently. Like as soon as you go into Bayut, it's connected to a WhatsApp, and then the WhatsApp directly opens up a WhatsApp message so you can communicate really quickly with the estate agent. Like in the UK, I know you've got to call them up. You might call up Hart or one of the other estate agents, and then you've got to book the actual viewing. In Dubai, one thing you need to know is everything happens on WhatsApp Business. Like before I came to Dubai, I didn't even have a WhatsApp Business. I just had a personal WhatsApp. But now I have a WhatsApp for business, and every single conversation, all business done in Dubai is done on WhatsApp Business. So the property platforms have a direct connection to WhatsApp, and that's how you communicate. So it's a really easy, nice way of communicating with a real estate agent. So then you want to go and view your properties, that's fine. The real estate agents just book those appointments with you. Great. One thing that I recall from our early days when going to view apartments was really funny. So we're a family of four, but when we moved to Dubai, we wanted to sort of go into an apartment. We just wanted to try it out, didn't want to rent a villa, just thought we'd try it out. So we chose a few different places to go and look at. And one of my fondest memories, I don't know if it's fond or crazy, but basically one of the real estate agents, they literally took us to this real high rise. I was looking down out of the window and it was just pure concrete below. And I remember they took us up to the 74th floor and we were in the escalator and my heart was just pounding. And I was like, I think we got past like the 35th floor and my ears popped. And I was like, there's no way on this planet that I'm going to live on the 74th floor. I have vertigo as it is. So can you imagine just looking down at that? I was like, no, no, no. And then he took me near the balcony and I was just like, get me out of here right now. But just to let you know, be mindful of stuff like that. A lot of the places are high rises. So if you've got a specification of basically you don't want to be any higher than the second or third or fourth floor, specify that when looking. I wish I'd done that initially. I didn't. Another time when we were looking at places to rent, and something to be mindful of, is be mindful and be selective and actually define the criteria that you want for your family. Now, we visited a few places and they were more for like bachelors, and they were coming in and out, and the queues at the lifts were like quite long. And I was like, this isn't pragmatic for a family. I don't want to be staying in a place that's full of bachelors. They come in all times of night. They basically go out clubbing. You know, they have a different lifestyle to a family lifestyle. So I wouldn't want to stay in an apartment that basically has a lot of bachelors or is renowned for bachelors. So do bear stuff like that in mind. Back to the actual logistics and technicalities of renting. Right, so say you found your place, you want to go for it, you found a lovely place, you're a family of four, and you found, say, a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment that you want to rent. Now, the first thing that you have to know about Dubai is something called the Ajari. So the Ajari is a system, it like oversees all the renting. It's more like God, what's the one in the UK called? Is it ALA or something like that. But basically oversees all the renting. So there's an actual governing body for that, and it's called the RARA is the governing body, and the Department of Dubai Land is basically, they came together and they formed this Ajari, which is a system that basically helps to monitor all of the rentals that take place in Dubai. So that's what gives you your contracts. It defines who's responsible for the maintenance and how long the contract's for. So all that stuff is produced by the Ajari. Now you can do the Ajari on an app or the Dubai Now app. There's two places you can do that. You'll need to do that when you get your rental. Once you confirm the place you'll be renting, your estate agent will say, can you go onto this app and process the Ajari, and all the details will be on there. So that's what you need to basically bear in mind. I would always say initially go for a 1 year contract, of course. You don't want to be tied in. And what I noticed here, they don't do break clauses. Now, I know in the UK, you can do a 6-month break clause. So if after 6 months you're not happy, you can leave. But in Dubai, they don't do that for long-term rentals. If you're looking for a specific short-term, they might have it. So do bear that in mind. But it's generally for a year. Now, another thing that's very different from the UK in Dubai when it comes to renting a property is as soon as you inquire for a property in that WhatsApp, they'll be like, how many checks? So the real estate agent just says, how many checks, like CHQ, and you're like, huh? Speak English, like I'm not sure what you've actually just asked me. And now, what do you mean checks? And I'm like, who does checks? Like, why are we doing checks here? Anyway, once you get over that trauma and confusion of checks, you're just like, so basically the way they work here is they ask for a check. So you could do one check which covers the rent for the whole year, which would be quite extortionate, and I wouldn't recommend it. But some people do ask for it, and I think they do try their luck and ask for it. So I would just minimize it and say I'd like 4 checks, which means you want to pay quarterly. Now, I know that seems like a lot. It seems like a big lump up front, but it's two-way. It's like a two-edged sword. Is that what they say? Basically, at least you're paying your rent for 3 months and you don't have to worry about it. Sometimes it can be super pressurizing to think of that rent every month. So once you pay for it for 3 months, then it's out of the way. It's done and dusted. So that's how the checks work. You'll need a checkbook from your bank. So then basically you'll write out the checks and then you will actually provide those to the real estate agent, who will pass those on to the landlord, and they'll be dated as per the 3 months that hit within the yearly contract. So that's that bit. Another thing that I found really different with renting in the UK in comparison to Dubai is they don't do an inventory check. I think it's a bit more laid back here when it comes to inventory. If there's small things that aren't as they should be, they're not too bothered, because renting here, I mean, it's just renting consistently. People are moving in and out on a consistent basis. They only stay for a year or so, then they move to another area. It's very, very dynamic here. People don't rent for long periods of time. Some do, some don't. But that's why it's not as rigid as it is in the UK, with inventory checks and marking this mark on the wall and that mark on the wall and that mark on the cupboard, etc. So inventory is not so rigid as it is in the UK, and they don't actually have inventory checks as far as I'm aware. I've lived in an apartment and in a villa, but what I would recommend, if there are major deficiencies, obviously record it on a video when you get there and let the landlord know that that's what's going on. So what else? This is something which is quite different as well. In the UK, when things go wrong, generally the landlord sorts them out. Well, so they should, right? I mean, that's the experience I've had with renting in the UK. So in the UAE, in Dubai, it's quite different. When something needs maintenance and is under £100, you, as the actual tenant, are required to sort that out. If it's above £100, then the landlord will sort it out. So that was something that was quite different when it came to getting stuff fixed in Dubai when we're renting the property. What else is there? I don't want to miss anything. Oh, brilliant. This is it. So when you move into an apartment or a villa, Once you get that Ajari, you need the Ajari because what you need to then go and do is activate your DIWA. DEWA, which is the Department of Electricity and Water Authority. But essentially what that is, that allows you to get the water, the electricity and gas to the property that you're renting, which is super, super important. And one thing that I wasn't aware of that basically came up when we actually went to that department to activate it for our villa. And a villa just means house, by the way. I'm not sure why they call them villas here, but they're called villas anyway. And basically, they asked for a massive deposit. Like, I was like, okay, might be like 100, 200 quid. They literally asked for about, I think it was 4,000 dirham. And basically, that equated to about £1,000. That was quite a lot of money for a deposit. So obviously you get that back once you leave, etc. But it just goes from house to house to house when you're renting. So that DIWA requires a deposit. Be mindful. Other than that, that is pretty much it when it comes to renting in Dubai. There are all the things that you need to look out for. Just to give my own experience with renting. So initially I rented a apartment which was in Dubai Hills. Now, when you're renting as a family, you want to definitely live in like a community style thing because you want it to have that whole like a gym, you want it to have a swimming pool for the kids, you want to have all those amenities like a walking area, a bike track, a running track. So do bear that in mind when you're renting. Also bear in mind how far it's going to be from the kids' school. And what I would say and do differently is bear in mind if it's going to be quite close to a cost-effective grocery store as opposed to a Spiney's. Spiney's is definitely the most expensive way to shop in Dubai. So do think about these things. In hindsight, I wish I had thought about these things. I would say I was pretty clueless. I just settled for the first place that we thought of, which was Dubai Hills. It was very expensive. And it's kind of like the Kensington and Hammersmith of the UK. And there's no way I was living in Kensington or Hammersmith in the UK. I was living in West London. So that's more like central London. So be mindful of the places you live in. And when you're going to these real estate agents, give them obviously the proximity of what you want to spend and then let them come back, because you might realize that your budgeting is quite limited to areas that might be a bit further out than you would originally liked. There might be quite a long commute. But then again, on the plus side, Dubai is quite small. It's only 40 to 50 minutes from end to end. So it's not really that far to travel. It's just like going from, Ealing to Harrow, if you know that area, or from like Plaistow to Mile End or something, if you're in East London. I hope I've given some good analogies of distances, but it's not really that far. So I hope that's given you a good understanding of the process of renting in Dubai and basically what to expect. And I hope it's giving you a great understanding so it help you in your journey when it comes to you renting. If you'd like to share this, please do share it with anyone else who's thinking of renting. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And do pose any questions that you have when it comes to renting in Dubai and what you're thinking or any concerns that you might have. So thanks for watching this video. And until the next one, I'll see you.